Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So recently I received a couple of requests from my followers that they would like to see me painting with Fevicryl acrylics. As you all know, when I paint my scale models, I usually stick to Fevicryl acrylic paints. So without further ado, we'll start with the video tutorial on how I paint with Fevicryl acrylics. Now, Fevicryl is a subsidiary of Pidilite, which is one of the biggest paint manufacturers in India, and they manufacture these hobby paints and they call them Fevicryl, and these are acrylic paints. So as you can see, I've got these three shades of Fevicryl acrylics in front of you. I just showed you the turquoise blue and this is the teal blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint with these Fevicryl acrylic paints. I have the Spitfire Mark 8 that I am currently working on, and I'm going to paint the underside of the Spitfire using these paints. The underside of the Spitfire is blue. Now the thing about Fevicryl paints is that they are very thick. As you can see, I've just opened this bottle of sky blue and you can see just how viscous the paint inside the bottle is. So just water alone isn't going to help thin it. And you can see this bottle of turquoise blue, how thick that paint is. So you're going to need something other than water to thin these paints, and we'll look at that shortly. So this is the paint palette, and don't worry about the numbers there. It's an old expired credit card, so it won't work anymore even if you take those numbers. So this is my paint palette where I've already tried the mix and matches of all those three shades to achieve the shade of blue that is required under the Spitfire. So what I've done is I've used the sky blue tone and mixed just a speck of turquoise blue into the sky blue to achieve that dark blue that you see. And this is the closest that has come to the blue that is required under the Spitfire. The other two shades of blue that you can see are much lighter, so I have decided to stick to the second blue for the Spitfire. Right, so these are the handy dandy airbrushes that I've been using for a good part of the last 4 years. This is a 2.5cc cup and this is a 5cc cup airbrush. Both have worked very well. So I'm going to use the golden airbrush to paint the Spitfire. And this is the isopropyl alcohol, or daru, what we call in Hindi. And this is easily available at various pharmacy stores. So I'm going to thin Fevicryl paints with IPA, or isopropyl alcohol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the isopropyl alcohol, fill up the cup of the airbrush halfway through. So it's a 5cc cup, so I have roughly 2.5cc of IPA, and this is a size 7 brush that I'm going to use for the mixing of the colors inside the airbrush. And as you can see, this is a sable hair airbrush. It's got a very sharp tip at the end and it helps to mix the paints very well. So here we go. This is the turquoise blue, and now never add the paint through your paint bottle. Always use the paintbrush because that gives you more control over how much paint you are putting into the airbrush. So I take just one dollop of the sky blue, mix it into the airbrush, the second dollop. So this is how I basically eyeball the paint mixes. So this is the second dollop and the third dollop, and that's about as much paint as you would need inside the airbrush to start painting your subject. Now I'll take the turquoise blue and just a little speck of it, and I'll mix it back in the airbrush. So as you can see, it's turned a little bit darker blue, so I would need a little more. Take just another speck, mix it into the airbrush cup. and I think now it's getting closer to the type of blue that I need under the Spitfire. Yep, I think that's pretty blue, and so I'll give it a back flush now, just so that everything mixes very well inside the airbrush cup. Pick up my Spitfire, and here we go painting. So from a distance of about 6 to 8 inches, I've got the compressor set at 30 psi, and very light coats, keeping a distance of 6 to 8 inches from the aircraft, and building up the paint on the underside slowly and steadily. Now I'm leaving that little bit of black as well, because I want to make the pre-shading show through. So basically I've primed the entire aircraft in black paint, black primer, before I started painting. So I'm just manipulating the paint slowly and steadily, and it's still working at 30 psi on the compressor. And plodding along, here we are after half an hour of spray work and paint job. This is the end result. That's all there is to it. Any questions, comments, leave them below. Thank you so much for watching.